Hold on to your wallets, folks. Have you ever wondered if that old penny in your pocket could be worth more than just, well, a penny? You find a penny from 2009. But wait, there's no mint mark. That could be a hidden treasure worth up to $2 million. Sounds crazy, right? Well, trust me, it's not a joke. In today's video, we're diving into why that penny could make you richer than you ever expected, and how you can spot a rare coin that's just waiting to turn your change jar into a gold mine. Stick around, because by the end of this, you might just start looking at your loose change in a whole new light. Alright, so let's break this down. You're probably thinking, a penny? Really? Worth $2 million? Well, yes, and I'll tell you exactly why. First, let's rewind a little to 2009. 2009 was the year of the Lincoln Bicentennial penny, marking the 200th anniversary of Honest Abe's birth. The U.S. Mint released 4 different designs to honor the great man himself, each celebrating a different stage of his life. So, as you can imagine, these pennies were being churned out by the millions. But here's where it gets interesting. Normally, pennies are stamped with a mint mark, which tells you where they were made, either Philly, Denver, or San Francisco. Now, the Denver Mint is the biggest producer of pennies, but in 2009, something really rare happened. Some pennies were produced in Philadelphia, without a mint mark. These are the elusive no mint mark 2009 pennies, and they weren't supposed to be out there. Think of it like finding out your coffee cup wasn't just plain old coffee, it was double espresso. The difference is huge. These no mint mark pennies were like the rare Pokemon of the coin world, hiding in plain sight. So, what does that mean for you? These rare pennies could be worth an insane amount of money. But here's the catch. Most people didn't even realize they had one. When people first found them, they were like, oh cool, a 2009 penny, and then tossed it into their piggy banks without a second thought. I've been there. I remember when I was younger, I had a jar full of old coins my grandma gave me. I just thought they were, well, old and dusty. If only I'd known that some of those pennies could have made me a millionaire. Anyway, fast forward a bit, and people started realizing these no mint mark pennies were pretty rare. In fact, they're now worth anywhere from $1,000 to $2 million, depending on their condition. I know, it's crazy. So, the next time you dig into your spare change jar, you might want to give those pennies a second glance. But here's the thing, condition matters. A penny that's in mint condition, no pun intended, could fetch you top dollar, while one that's heavily worn down won't quite get you the big bucks. If it's a 2009 penny with no mint mark, and it's got a lot of wear and tear, you might be looking at $1,000. But if it's in perfect condition, like straight off the mint press, now you're talking $2 million. I bet I have one of those pennies in my collection. And maybe you do. But before you run off to your drawer of coins, let's talk about what makes these pennies so valuable. It's all about rarity, and the fact that so many people didn't realize these pennies were valuable means not many are out there in good condition. So, you're dealing with the ultimate coin hunt here. If you ever find one of these, you're basically holding a lottery ticket in your hand. But how do you find one? Well, it's not as simple as just digging through piles of loose change. There are a few tricks that coin collectors use to search for rare coins. First, check the date and look for that absence of the mint mark. You'll want to check the reverse side of the coin, where it's usually stamped with the mint's mark. If you don't see one, that's your golden ticket. Next, check the condition. Does it look like it's been through a few too many wash cycles? Well, it's probably not worth $1 million. But if it's nice and shiny with minimal wear, you might just have a winner on your hands. And remember, even if you don't find a $2 million penny, don't be discouraged. There are plenty of other coins worth checking out, and this whole coin collecting thing can be pretty fun, too. But hey, if you do find one, you can thank me later. A 2009 penny with no mint mark could be worth a lot of money if you've got the right one in good condition. So go ahead, check your pockets, check your piggy bank, and maybe even check your couch cushions. Who knows, you could be sitting on a small fortune. If you enjoyed this video and want more tips on how to spot valuable coins and turn your spare change into serious cash, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell. Trust me, you won't want to miss the next episode. I've got more coin tips coming your way that might just make you rich. And hey, who doesn't want to find hidden treasures, right? Thanks for watching, and remember, always keep your eyes on the pennies. You're digging through your old change jar, looking for a couple of quarters for the parking meter, and bam, you stumble across a penny. But not just any penny. This one could be worth $1.8 million. That's right, a single penny that's worth more than your car, your house, and maybe even your student loans combined. Today, we're talking about the 1980 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, it's a tiny piece of copper that's got the coin collecting world buzzing. Let's dive into the story behind this magical penny and what makes it so insanely valuable. And stick around, because I've got a hilarious story about how I almost tossed a rare coin in the vending machine that I didn't, but it was close. What's the deal with this 1980 penny, and why is it worth so much? It all comes down to the no mint mark part. You see, mint marks are those little letters on coins that tell you where they were made: Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. But here's the kicker. Some 1980 pennies from the Philadelphia Mint were accidentally struck without the P mint mark. This error makes them incredibly rare and valuable. Coin collectors love a good error. Think of it like finding a typo in the final draft of a best-selling book. Except this typo is worth millions. Now, let's talk value. The current market value of one of these no mint mark pennies? A jaw-dropping $1.8 million. Yes, you heard that right. A penny that cost, well, 1 cent to make could now pay for a luxury vacation, a new car, and still leave you with enough to splurge on avocado toast every day for the rest of your life. But here's the thing. Not every 1980 penny is going to be worth that much. It's got to be in pristine condition. Coin nerds like to call it MS-65 or higher, which basically means it looks like it was minted yesterday. How can you tell if you've hit the jackpot? Grab a magnifying glass and inspect your pennies. If it's a 1980 penny and there's no mint mark, you might be sitting on a gold mine. Well, a copper mine technically. But before you start planning your yacht purchase, get it authenticated by a professional coin grading service. Trust me, they'll save you from awkwardly telling your friends about your $1,000,000 penny that's actually worth $1. Now, let me tell you about the time I almost threw away a coin worth hundreds. I was at a laundromat because apparently I live in a 90s sitcom and I needed some quarters for the machine. I started digging through my wallet and came across this old, shiny penny. For a split second, I thought about tossing it into the reject pile with my pocket lint and broken hair ties. But something stopped me. Call it intuition. Or maybe I was just procrastinating. Anyway, I looked it up, and guess what? It wasn't worth millions, but it was a rare coin worth a few $100. Moral of the story: always check your coins before you part ways with them. You never know what treasures might be hiding in plain sight. So, there you have it. The story of the 1980 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. A tiny coin with a massive price tag. Now, here's the fun part. You might already have one of these lying around. Go grab that old jar of coins, rifle through your couch cushions, or raid your car's cup holder. Who knows? You might strike it rich without even trying. And if you enjoyed this little treasure hunt, do me a favor. Hit that subscribe button. I've got plenty more tips on coins worth money, rare finds, and strategies for turning pocket change into big bucks. Let's keep the fun and the fortune rolling. You're digging through your spare change, just looking for a little coffee money, or maybe even a snack for later. But wait, what's that? A 1965 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark? Hold up, stop what you're doing. This penny might be worth a small fortune. Yeah, you heard me right. A single penny, a penny, could be worth a staggering $2 million. Sounds too good to be true, right? But stick with me. By the end of this video, you might just check every single coin in your pocket, purse, and couch cushions. It's going to be a wild ride. So grab your magnifying glass and maybe a snack, too, because we're about to dive deep into the mystery of the 1965 penny without a mint mark. All right, let's get into it. If you've ever picked up a coin and noticed something odd, whether it's a strange error, a weird misprint, or a missing mint mark, you've probably wondered, is this worth anything? Well, the 1965 penny with no mint mark is one of those coins that has people scrambling to check their change jars. Here's the thing. Most coins have a mint mark, right? It tells you where the coin was made, like a little signature of the mint. For pennies, it's usually either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker. In 1965, there was a rare, unintentional mistake. A handful of pennies were struck with no mint mark at all. And let me tell you, people are really into these things. How in the world could a penny, which is worth only 1 cent, be worth $2 million? Well, hold on to your hats, because that's exactly what happened when one of these error coins was sold at auction for over $2 million. That's more than most people make in a lifetime. So, what makes it so special? In 1965, the US Mint was in the middle of a coin crisis. They had a shortage of pennies, so they were cranking them out as fast as possible. The thing is, during the minting process, a few sneaky coins got through without that little mint mark. Those few coins, those no mint mark pennies, became highly sought after by collectors who love a good error coin. So, what makes these pennies so valuable? It's all about rarity, my friend. There weren't many of these coins made, and even fewer have survived to this day. People are willing to pay top dollar for a rare piece of history, and when it comes to rare coins like this one, the price can skyrocket. In fact, just one of these elusive pennies has sold for a cool $2 million. Imagine finding that in your pocket change. If you ask me, that's a pretty solid reason to check every penny you come across. Now, let me share a quick story with you. A few years ago, I was at a garage sale, just casually browsing, looking for some cool old stuff to add to my collection. I wasn't even thinking about coins, really. But then, in a dusty old jar, I saw it. A 1965 penny. It was in pretty rough shape, but I figured, hey, it's just a penny. What's the worst that could happen? Well, let me tell you, I did the exact opposite of what I should have done. I tossed it back into the jar without even giving it a second glance. A week later, I heard about the whole 1965 no mint mark penny craze, and I nearly kicked myself. You better believe I haven't made that mistake again. Moral of the story? Never underestimate the value of an old penny, especially if it looks a little different. It could be worth a lot more than you think. The 1965 Abraham Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Rare, valuable, and in some cases, worth millions. If you ever find one of these beauties, you might want to head straight to a coin appraiser or auction house, because you could be holding on to a piece of history and a pile of cash without even realizing it. Before you go checking your coins, I've got one more thing to say. If you enjoyed this deep dive into rare coins and want more tips and tricks to help you discover what your old coins are worth, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I've got tons of cool coin-related content lined up, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Who knows, the next coin you find could be worth more than your entire lunch bill, or even that cup of coffee you've been dreaming about. Have you ever found a penny on the ground and thought to yourself, it's just a penny, right? Well, today I'm going to totally change the way you look at those tiny copper coins, because there's one penny out there that could be worth, wait for it, $2.10 million. Yeah, you heard that right. A penny. A humble 1967 no mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny that's worth more than a brand new car, a fancy vacation, or even a down payment on a house. So, what makes this penny so special? And could you have one just lying around in your pocket right now? Let's dive into it. So, let's set the stage. 1967. The world was in the middle of some pretty wild times. You've got the summer of love happening, the Vietnam War, and people rocking those groovy bell-bottoms. Meanwhile, in the world of coins, there was a tiny blip on the radar that went almost unnoticed, until decades later, when a few keen-eyed collectors spotted something extremely interesting. Now, typically, most pennies have a mint mark on them, either a D for Denver or a S for San Francisco. But here's the twist. Some 1967 pennies, for reasons no one really knows for sure, were produced without a mint mark. And these no mint mark pennies are the golden unicorns of the coin world. There were supposed to be a few minted, but it looks like someone messed up, and suddenly, you've got one of the rarest coins on the planet. Talk about an accident of history. But, of course, it's not just any old penny. You need to have the right conditions, perfect preservation, no wear, no scratches. It's got to be in amazing condition. Think of it like finding the one pizza slice that hasn't been touched, despite everyone trying to get a bite. If your 1967 penny is in pristine shape, it could sell for a jaw-dropping amount. Let's talk numbers here. At the height of its value, This 1967 no-mint mark penny was sold for over $2.10 million. Yes, $2 million for a tiny piece of copper. It's like winning the lottery, except instead of scratching off a ticket, you just had to be lucky enough to find this in your loose change. Now, I know what you're thinking. Wait, where do I find these million-dollar pennies? And here's where it gets tricky. While there are probably a few of these rare coins still floating around in the world, they're not easy to come by. Most people don't even know they have them. You might find one tucked away in your grandmother's coin jar, or maybe it's buried in your change from that random store purchase you made a few years ago. But unless you're a hardcore coin collector, or you've got an eagle eye for detail, you might not even know what you're looking at. I'll tell you a little story about my own journey with coins a few years ago. I was going through some of my old change, just like most people do when they're cleaning out their car or finding coins stuffed in a drawer. And I thought, hey, let's see if I have any coins worth more than just a couple of cents. I had no idea about rare coins back then, but I decided to start researching. After hours of flipping through my collection, I stumbled upon what I thought was just a regular 1964 penny. But as I did more research, I realized it was actually a key date in the coin world, and I ended up selling it for a nice little profit. That little experience got me hooked on the world of rare coins, and trust me, once you start finding treasures, it's hard to stop. But the real kicker is that you just never know what's out there in your own stash. So, if you're digging through your change or flipping through your spare change jar, keep an eye out for that 1967 no-mint mark penny. It could be worth more than your wildest dreams. All right, folks, if you're not already looking at your pennies a little differently, you should be. Coins like the 1967 no-mint mark penny can make you a small fortune, and it all starts with knowing what to look for. Trust me, as someone who's been in the coin game for a while, you don't want to miss out on this opportunity. So, what are you waiting for? Start scouring your change jars, digging through those old coin collections, and checking your spare change like you've never checked before. You never know, you could be sitting on a gold mine. If you want more tips on which coins are worth money, strategies for finding rare coins, and other ways to turn your hobby into a potential moneymaker, hit that subscribe button. I'm dropping new videos all the time with insider secrets to coin collecting and coin hunting. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. And hey, let me know in the comments if you've ever found a rare coin in your collection or your change. You might just have a hidden treasure waiting to be uncovered. How many of you have ever found a coin in your change and thought, is this thing worth a fortune? Well, guess what? That thought might just be closer to reality than you think. Especially if you're holding on to a 1968 Abraham Lincoln penny. I know. You're probably thinking, penny? Worth a fortune? That's crazy. But buckle up, because this story is not only about the rarest of pennies. It's also about how one little mint mark can change your financial future. So, grab your magnifying glasses, because we're diving into the world of rare coins and their shocking values. You won't believe how much a 1968 penny can be worth, and how that same coin can possibly make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard that right, a $2.20 million penny. Stick around, you won't want to miss this. All right, let's get into the details. You probably already know that the penny is often thought of as just pocket change. But in 1968, something special happened at the U.S. Mint. They made the Abraham Lincoln penny, just like they do every year, but there was a small oops moment that happened in one of the mints that made all the difference. The 1968 penny is unique because it has an S mint mark. Now, you're probably wondering what the heck that means. Well, the mint mark shows where the coin was made, and most of the 1968 pennies had a D for Denver or no mint mark at all for Philadelphia. But here's the kicker. This particular S mint mark was supposed to be for proof coins only. So, how did this penny end up being worth more than a lunch at Taco Bell? Well, there was a small batch of these 1968 pennies that slipped through the cracks and ended up in circulation. These accidental releases have caused quite the frenzy among collectors and coin enthusiasts. Now, let's talk about how much these pennies are actually worth. A regular 1968 penny might not have much value, probably just 1 cent. But if you've got one of the rare, uncirculated versions, it could be worth anywhere from $50 to $100, if you're lucky. But hold on. The real kicker is that one of these rare pennies, in pristine condition, actually sold for a jaw-dropping $2.20 million. That's right, $2.2 million for a penny. Now, I know what you're thinking. Well, that's impossible. I don't have a mint condition penny just laying around. But the reality is, these rare coins do exist. So how do you find one? Let me tell you a little story from my own life. A couple of years ago, I was going through some old coins I inherited from my grandfather. Most of them were just sitting there gathering dust in a jar. I mean, I didn't think much of them. Who looks at pennies, right? So, I casually picked up a few of the oldest ones and started sorting them. Lo and behold, there was a 1968 penny sitting there, tucked in the middle of the pile. At first, I didn't even notice the mint mark. I mean, who's got time to squint at pennies? But then, I remembered something my buddy had mentioned about looking for rare coins. So I took a second glance, and sure enough, there it was, an S mint mark. My heart stopped for a second. I quickly checked it against some online price guides, and holy moly, I realized I had a valuable penny. Now, I didn't immediately make $2.2 million, but I did find out it was worth quite a bit more than I thought, about $200. And you know what? I sold it and used the money to buy a nice dinner for my family. But the point is, you don't know what's in your collection until you take the time to look. If you're going through old coins, always check for any mint marks that seem a little off. You never know when you'll find something rare hiding in the mix. So, what can we learn from all of this? Well, the 1968 penny is a perfect example of how one tiny mint mark can turn an everyday coin into something worth millions. But it's not just about having the right penny. It's about knowing what to look for, how to preserve it, and maybe even getting a little lucky. And hey, if you've got a 1968 penny, don't throw it away just yet. You might be sitting on a small fortune. If you've enjoyed this video and want more tips on coins that could be worth big bucks, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Trust me, you don't want to miss the next rare coin discovery. I'm always hunting for tips, and I love sharing them with you. Thanks for watching, and remember, the next time you find a penny in your pocket, take a second look. It just might be worth more than your morning coffee. All right, raise your hand if you've ever gone through a jar of pennies, hoping to find something rare, and then thought, it's just a penny. Well, what if I told you that one single penny, just one, could be worth, drumroll please, a whopping $2.3 million? That's right, a 1971 penny, with no mint mark, is worth more than most people's entire house. And I'll be breaking down everything you need to know about it, so you can start looking through your pennies and maybe, just maybe, hit the jackpot. Stay tuned, because by the end of this, you'll be seeing pennies in a whole new light. A penny? How can a penny possibly be worth $2.3 million? And trust me, I get it. I was skeptical too, until I found out that this 1971 penny is one of the rarest, most sought-after coins in the world, and its value is going through the roof. Here's the thing. Most pennies from 1971 are totally normal, like this one right here. Nothing special. You'd probably find one of these in the back of your couch or floating around in the bottom of your purse, right? But, and this is where it gets wild, there's a small number of 1971 pennies that don't have a mint mark, and those are the ones that are worth millions. So, you might be wondering, what does a mint mark even mean? Well, let me explain. Every year, the US Mint produces coins at different locations, and they put a little mint mark on each coin to show where it was made. If you look at most 1971 pennies, you'll see a mint mark, either a D for Denver or an S for San Francisco. But here's the kicker. Some 1971 pennies came out of the Philadelphia Mint with absolutely no mint mark at all. And no, it's not a typo, and it's definitely not a prank. These mint markless pennies are incredibly rare. Only a few have surfaced in the market, and they're worth a jaw-dropping $2.3 million if they're in mint condition. That's right, a single penny, more than some people make in a lifetime. It's crazy, right? And these coins are so rare that they've become a kind of holy grail for coin collectors. But here's the kicker. Most of these rare 1971 pennies are out of circulation. They're either locked away in private collections or hidden in coin dealers' vaults. So, the chances of finding one today are slim, but not impossible. So, funny story. A few years ago, I was going through some old coins I found in my grandmother's attic. Because, That's what you do when you're bored. I didn't find anything worth millions, unfortunately, but I did find this dusty old 1971 penny. I figured it was just a regular one, and I almost tossed it into the spare change pile. But then I remembered hearing about these rare mint markless 1971 pennies, and I thought, wait a second, maybe, just maybe, it wasn't the $1 million version, but it sure made me check every penny a little more closely after that. Moral of the story? Never, ever underestimate the value of a coin until you've given it a good, long look. Now, let's talk about how you can tell if you've got one of these golden opportunities sitting right in front of you. First off, the coin has to be from 1971. Easy enough, right? Second, it has to be a penny with no mint mark on it. And finally, the condition of the coin matters. If it's in pristine condition, that's where the value skyrockets. We're talking about collectors who'll pay top dollar for coins that are nearly perfect, no scratches, no wear and tear. A coin like that could fetch millions. But here's where it gets tricky. The vast majority of 1971 pennies you find will have that mint mark, and even those without it might not be in mint condition. So, don't go getting too excited just yet. Check for other signs, like the sharpness of the details, the wear on the edges, and even the color of the penny. The more pristine, the better. And for those of you who don't want to hunt for pennies under a microscope, don't worry. There are plenty of other coins from different years and mint marks that can be worth a pretty penny, pun absolutely intended. So, what's the takeaway here? Check your pennies. You never know when you might stumble upon a 1971 no mint mark gem. And if you do, well, I'd suggest holding on to it, because you might just have a small fortune on your hands. But hey, even if you don't find a rare penny, there are plenty of other valuable coins out there. So, make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss out on more tips and tricks to spot coins worth money. And who knows, your next pocket change might just be the key to unlocking a small fortune. So, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, give me a thumbs up if you learned something new, and leave a comment below if you've ever found a coin that turned out to be worth more than you expected. Who knows, maybe we'll all be millionaires someday. So, you're sitting there, casually flipping through your pocket change when you spot a penny that's been chilling there for who knows how long. But wait, could that little copper disc possibly be worth thousands? Maybe even millions? Sounds too good to be true, right? But let me tell you about a coin that actually turned out to be worth $1.4 million. A 1993 D mint mark Abraham Lincoln penny. Yep, you heard that right. Stick around, and I'll explain how this penny went from meh to moneymaker, and how you might have one hiding in your collection. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. Alright, let's get down to it. I know you've heard the phrase, find a penny, pick it up, and all day you'll have good luck. But did you know that finding the right penny could make you the next millionaire? Today, we're talking about the 1993 D Abraham Lincoln penny, which is currently valued at an insane $1.40 million. Now, before you start rummaging through your jar of pennies, let's slow down and break it all down. The first question you're probably asking is, why is this penny worth so much? Well, here's the thing. Most of the pennies you find today are pretty common. They're mass-produced, they're circulating, and they're worth exactly 1 cent. But the 1993 D Lincoln penny? That's a whole different story. The 1993 D penny has a unique flaw, a double die error. What does that mean? Well, when the coin was being struck at the Denver Mint, the die used to imprint the design onto the penny was misaligned. Instead of getting a nice, crisp Lincoln and details on the reverse, you get a penny with a double image, kind of like a blurry vision of Abraham Lincoln. Imagine someone trying to take a selfie with a filter that's just a bit too much. Same concept. Now, you're probably wondering how you can spot one of these $1 million pennies. It's not as simple as just finding any 1993 D penny. You need to look for the double die error, which gives the penny that funky, blurry look. To check if your penny has this, grab a magnifying glass or your phone's camera, don't judge, we've all done it, and inspect the details closely, especially the date and the words Liberty and In God We Trust on the obverse. If the image is blurry or you can see a doubling effect, congratulations, you might have a rare coin. But here's the kicker. You can't just have any worn-out penny. The one that sold for $1.4 million in 2018 was in pristine condition. It was graded MS-67 by the professional coin grading service, which means it was nearly flawless. So, if your penny is looking a little too well-loved, it might not bring in the big bucks. But hey, it could still be worth more than 1 cent. You might be thinking, that's cool, but why would anyone pay $1.4 million for a penny? And I get it. It's a bit mind-blowing. But think about it like this. People pay crazy money for rare baseball cards, limited edition sneakers, or, in some cases, people pay big bucks for a grilled cheese sandwich with a face on it. The bottom line? People love collecting rare stuff, and coins like this are rare. Like, really rare. It all comes down to how many are left. Out of millions of pennies minted, only a handful with this error have survived in good condition. And since coins like this are such a unique find, they become a collector's dream. And, as you might have guessed, a way to make serious cash. Alright, let me take a quick detour here with a story of my own. A couple of years ago, I found a penny on the ground while I was walking through the park. It was all rusty and dirty, and I thought, probably just another worn-out piece of change. But then something told me, hey, maybe I should check it out. I took it home, cleaned it up, and nothing. Just a regular penny. What if I'd passed by a $1.4 million penny and never knew it? The fact that these things can be hiding in plain sight is both exciting and terrifying at the same time. Moral of the story: always check your pennies, just in case you stumble upon a treasure. So, let's wrap this up. The 1993 D. Lincoln penny is worth $1.4 million because of a rare double die error. And if you're lucky enough to find one in great condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. If you don't have one yet, don't worry. Keep checking your pocket change, and who knows? That humble penny you pick up tomorrow could be the next big thing. And hey, if you found this video helpful, or if you're now obsessively checking your pennies, be sure to hit that subscribe button for more tips on coin hunting, strategies to find valuable coins, and other money-making tips you won't want to miss. Who knows, you might just be the next millionaire from a random penny. Thanks for watching, and happy hunting! Don't forget to leave a comment below if you've ever found a coin worth more than you thought. It's always fun to hear your stories. We're diving into the fascinating story of the 1970 D. Lincoln penny that's worth a jaw-dropping $1.5 million. Yes, $1.5 million. And no, this isn't one of those late-night infomercials. This is 100% legit. So grab your loose change, because by the end of this video, you might just be calling your boss to say, I quit. But seriously, stick around, because we're not just talking about why this penny is so valuable. We're going to give you tips on spotting rare coins, how to sell them, and even a funny story about the time I thought I struck it rich and didn't. Alright, let's get to the nitty-gritty. First off, what makes the 1970 D. Lincoln penny so special? Well, it all comes down to a fascinating mistake. This penny was minted in Denver in 1970, but what sets it apart is a rare error called a double die obverse. Basically, the design was stamped twice on one side, causing the lettering and details to look blurry or doubled. If you have one of these pennies, you've hit the jackpot. The mint mark. Check for the little D under the date. That means it was minted in Denver. The error. Look closely at the date and the lettering on the front of the coin. If it looks like it's got a shadow or duplicate outline, that's a good sign. Condition matters. The shinier and less worn your penny is, the more valuable it'll be. A flawless coin could fetch $1.5 million, but even a worn one might still be worth thousands. Now, let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I thought I found one of these pennies. I was so pumped, I told everyone I knew. I even started looking up vacation homes in Hawaii. Talk about getting ahead of myself. Turns out, my penny wasn't the 1970 D error. It was just a regular old penny with a weird smudge. My dreams of being a millionaire? Crushed. But hey, it taught me a valuable lesson. Double-check before you celebrate. Why is someone willing to pay $1.5 million for a penny? It's all about rarity and demand. Coin collectors, or numismatists if you want to sound fancy, love unique pieces like this. To them, it's not just a coin. It's a piece of history, so let's say you find one of these beauties. What's next? Get it verified. Take it to a professional coin grader. They'll confirm if it's the real deal. Seriously, don't even think about scrubbing it with soap. Cleaning a coin can actually lower its value. The best way to get top dollar is to sell through a reputable auction house. They'll connect you with serious collectors who are ready to spend big bucks. All right, folks, there you have it. The incredible story of the 1970 D. Lincoln penny worth $1.5 million. If you've got a pile of pennies at home, now's the time to start digging. And hey, even if you don't find the golden ticket, remember, there are plenty of other rare coins out there just waiting to be discovered. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. I'll be sharing more tips on how to spot valuable coins, smart strategies for selling them, and even a few stories. Have you ever casually rummaged through your pocket change and thought, man, I wish this penny was worth, I don't know, $1.6 million? Well, guess what? It could be. That's right. Today, we're diving into the fascinating world of the 1964 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, a seemingly ordinary coin that's anything but. This little copper beauty is turning heads in the coin collecting world for its jaw-dropping market value of, wait for it, $1.6 million. Yup, that's not a typo. It's million with an M. So, grab your jar of spare change and stick around, because by the end of this video, you might just be heading to the bank with a magnifying glass. Now, let's get to the good stuff. What makes the 1964 D. Lincoln penny so special? Well, first off, D stands for the Denver Mint, which produced millions of pennies that year. But here's the kicker. Not all of those pennies are created equal. Some coins were struck with what collectors call transitional errors. Fancy term, right? It basically means something went wrong during production. Maybe the die used to stamp the coin was worn out, or the mint workers were having an off day. Whatever the reason, these errors created rare variations of the 1964 D penny that are now worth more than my first car, and probably yours too. And it's not just about the errors. The value also comes down to the coin's condition. In the coin collecting world, condition is everything. If your 1964 D penny looks like it's been through the laundry a few too many times, it's probably not going to make you a millionaire. But if it's in pristine, shiny, almost like it was minted yesterday condition, bingo, you've got yourself a gold mine, or, well, a copper mine. And here's a fun fact. The 1964 D penny is mostly made of copper, which was pretty standard back in the day. But some of these coins were accidentally struck on older leftover planchets. That's the blank piece of metal coins are made from, mint for silver dimes. Yup, a penny on a silver planchet. Imagine finding one of those in your couch cushions. Let me tell you a quick story. A couple of years ago, I was cleaning out my grandma's attic, doing my best impression of an American Pickers episode, when I stumbled across an old coffee can full of pennies. My first thought was, sweet, gas money. But then I remembered hearing about rare coins on a podcast. So, I sat there for hours, going through each penny with a magnifying glass like I was Nicolas Cage in National Treasure. Spoiler alert, I didn't find a 1964 D penny, but I did find a 1919 wheat penny worth about $10. Not bad for a day's work, right? That experience taught me two things. One, you never know what treasures are hiding in plain sight. And two, my grandma might have been secretly sitting on a fortune all along. All right, back to business. If you're lucky enough to find a 1964 D penny in mint condition, you're looking at serious money. At auction, these coins have fetched up to $1.6 million. But here's the deal. You don't have to hit the million-dollar jackpot to profit. Even less than perfect versions of this coin can sell for hundreds, even thousands of dollars. So, don't dismiss a penny just because it looks old and boring. Collectors and investors are willing to pay big bucks for these coins because they're rare, historical, and, let's face it, cool to show off at parties. Imagine saying, yeah, I bought my car with a penny. Instant legend status. So, what's the takeaway here? Simple. Check your change. That jar of pennies on your dresser or that pile of coins in your car cup holder could be worth more than you think. And even if you don't find a 1964 D penny, there are plenty of other rare coins out there just waiting to be discovered. If you found this video helpful, or if you're now itching to dig through your piggy bank, hit that subscribe button and join our community of treasure hunters. We're here to share tips, tricks, and strategies to help you turn pocket change into big bucks. Oh, and don't forget to like this video and leave a comment if you've ever found a rare coin. Who knows? Your story might inspire someone else to strike it rich. Thanks for watching, and remember, Every penny counts, especially the ones worth $1.6 million. You're rummaging through a pile of pocket change, maybe just trying to scrape together enough for a vending machine snack, and then bam! Hidden in plain sight is a penny that could make you a millionaire. Yes, you heard me right. Today, we're talking about the 2002 D-Mint Abraham Lincoln penny. Believe it or not, one of these tiny coins recently sold for an eye-popping $1.7 million. That's right, a penny worth more than a luxury mansion. How's that for a plot twist? So grab your magnifying glass and your coin jar because we're diving into why this penny is worth so much, how you can spot one, and what to do if you think you've got the next $1 million treasure hiding in your couch cushions. First, let's talk about why the 2002 D Lincoln penny is causing such a stir. You see, most pennies from this year and mint aren't anything special. They were minted by the billions, yes, billions with a B, at the Denver Mint. So, what's the big deal about this one? Well, the magic lies in a unique minting error. Collectors call it a double die error. In simple terms, during the minting process, the design on the coin got stamped twice, but slightly off-center. This creates a noticeable doubling effect on the inscriptions or Lincoln's portrait. And if you've got one in pristine condition, known as mint state, you've just hit the jackpot. Now, here's where it gets wild. The coin that sold for $1.7 million wasn't just any double die error. It was a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and demand. A coin like that doesn't just look good. It's the Beyoncé of pennies, flawless, iconic, and highly sought after. But let's get real for a second. You might be wondering, how am I supposed to spot this millionaire penny in a pile of boring change? The key is in the details. Look closely at the date, the word Liberty, or even Lincoln's face. If you see any funky doubling, congratulations, you might be holding on to something special. A couple of months ago, I was helping my niece with her school coin project. We were going through a jar of pennies when I found a coin that looked a little odd. I nearly had a heart attack thinking it was the 2002 D double die. Spoiler alert, it wasn't. Turns out, it was just a scratched-up penny. But hey, at least it got me into the habit of checking my change a lot more carefully. If you're lucky enough to find a coin like this, don't just toss it on eBay for a quick buck. Get it professionally graded by an organization like PCGS or NGC. Trust me, their certification can be the difference between selling it for a few $100s and selling it for life-changing money. Alright, folks, let's wrap this up. The 2002 D-Mint Abraham Lincoln penny is proof that treasure hunting isn't just for pirate movies. It's happening in your pocket, in your couch cushions, and in that old jar of coins you've been ignoring for years. So here's your challenge. Go through your pennies. Check every single one. Who knows? You might be holding on to your first $1 million. If you found today's video helpful or just plain fun, hit that subscribe button and join our community of coin lovers. I've got tons more tips, tricks, and stories to help you uncover the hidden treasures in your everyday life.